My name is Emma Johnson, and this is the story of my school trip across the United States, a journey that changed my life forever. I'm 22 years old and study at California State University, majoring in journalism. I love stories, adventures, and learning about new people and places. But when our teacher, Mrs. Brown, first told us about the trip, I didn't think it would be that exciting. "We'll visit many famous places in America," she said, her eyes shining. "You'll see how big and beautiful our country really is." I nodded politely, but deep down, I thought it would just be another school trip full of lectures, long bus rides, and group photos. Still, the idea of traveling made me a little excited. I love packing, planning outfits, and imagining what's waiting at the next stop. There were 20 students in our group, including my best friend Sarah. She's cheerful, full of energy, and always ready for fun. The night before the trip, we stayed up late choosing what to pack. "Don't forget your camera," Sarah said, throwing clothes into her suitcase. "You'll want to remember everything." "I just hope it's not too boring," I laughed. The next morning, a big blue bus waited outside the university. The driver, Tom, was a friendly man with gray hair and a warm smile. "Ready for adventure, kids?" he called out as we climbed aboard. We shouted yes, even though most of us were still half asleep. As the bus rolled out of Los Angeles, I looked out the window and watched the city fade into the distance. Mountains rose in the background, and the morning sky glowed with soft pink and gold colors. The road stretched ahead like a ribbon of promise. I didn't know it yet, but this trip would bring me more than just beautiful places. It would bring me love, friendship, and memories that would last forever. After 2 long days of traveling, we reached New York City at night. The moment I stepped off the bus, I felt like I had entered another world. Bright lights flashed from every direction. The sound of car horns and people talking filled the air. Tall buildings reached high into the dark sky like silver giants. Our hotel was in Manhattan, right in the center of the city. Sarah and I shared a room on the 10th floor. When I looked out the window, I could see the city sparkling below us, streets full of people, yellow taxis rushing by, and giant billboards lighting up the night. "This place is alive," Sarah whispered. The next morning, we visited Times Square. I had seen it in movies, but standing there felt unreal. Street performers were singing, dancing, and playing instruments. Tourists were taking pictures everywhere. I bought a small snow globe with the Statue of Liberty inside. "A souvenir," I told Sarah. At lunchtime, we took a boat to Liberty Island. The Statue of Liberty stood tall and proud, her green torch raised high. Climbing the stairs to the top was hard, but when I looked out, I could see the entire city below, shining, busy, and beautiful. That's when I met Jake. He was selling hot dogs near the dock. He had kind brown eyes, a relaxed smile, and messy hair that made him look effortlessly handsome. "Hot dog?" he asked, smiling. "Sure," I said, trying not to blush. As he handed me the hot dog, he asked where I was from. "California," I said. "We're on a school trip." "Lucky you," he replied. "I'm a student too. I work here part-time to pay for college." We talked for 10 minutes, about New York, about school, about life. He made me laugh easily. Before I left, he asked for my number. That night, I got a text. "Hey, Emma. Want to see Central Park tomorrow? I promise it's more relaxing than Times Square." I smiled at the screen. My heart beat a little faster. The next afternoon, I met Jake at Central Park. He was waiting near the entrance, holding a small bouquet of yellow roses. "Yellow means friendship," he said shyly. We walked slowly through the park. The trees were tall and green, and sunlight danced through the leaves. Families were having picnics, children were running and laughing, and musicians played soft tunes near the fountain. Jake told me about his dream of becoming a teacher. "I want to help kids believe in themselves," he said. I told him I wanted to travel and write stories about people around the world. "You already sound like a writer," he smiled. "You notice small things, the color of the sky, the sound of laughter." As we sat on a bench, it began to rain lightly. The drops sparkled like tiny diamonds on the grass. Jake quickly took off his jacket and placed it around my shoulders. We ran under a big oak tree, laughing as the rain fell harder. Under the tree, we stood close together. He looked into my eyes. Emma, he said softly, I feel something special. Before I could answer, he kissed me, a gentle, sweet kiss that made the whole world feel quiet and warm. It was my first real kiss, and it felt like a movie scene. When the rain stopped, we walked hand in hand to the park gate. Promise me we'll keep in touch, he said. I promise, I whispered. A few days later, our group flew to Miami, Florida. The moment I stepped off the plane, the warm air touched my face. The city felt like summer, bright, colorful, full of life. Our hotel was near the ocean. From our balcony, I could see the waves dancing in the sunlight. The sand was soft and white, and palm trees swayed gently in the wind. Sarah and I spent the first day swimming and taking photos. But my thoughts kept drifting back to Jake. That evening, my phone buzzed. It was him. Guess what? I'm flying to Miami tomorrow. I gasped. He's coming. I told Sarah. She grinned. I told you it was love. When Jake arrived, I met him at the beach. The sunset painted the sky in shades of pink and orange. You really came, I said. I couldn't stop thinking about you, he replied. We walked barefoot along the shore, the waves touching our feet. We talked about everything: music, food, our families, our dreams. Later, we had dinner at a small restaurant by the water. We ate grilled fish while a band played soft music. You make me want to be adventurous, Jake said. I used to be afraid of trying new things. But not anymore. We danced on the beach under the moonlight. The sand was cool, and the sound of the waves mixed with our laughter. We stayed there until sunrise, watching the first light touch the ocean. I knew then I was falling in love. After Miami, our group flew to Las Vegas, Nevada. I was sad to leave Jake, but he promised to visit again soon. Las Vegas was like a dream, bright, loud, and full of color. Neon lights flashed everywhere, and music played from every building. Our hotel was on the famous Las Vegas Strip. It looked like a palace with golden lights. Inside, people laughed, talked, and played games at shiny casino tables. That evening, we went to a magic show. The magician made a white tiger appear out of nowhere. The audience gasped and cheered. For a moment, I forgot all my worries. After the show, I video called Jake. His smile filled the screen. I miss you, he said. I miss you too. We talked for 2 hours about everything and nothing. Even through the phone, it felt like he was beside me. The next day, we visited the Bellagio fountain show. Water danced to music, rising and falling in perfect rhythm. It was like a ballet made of water and light. Tom, our bus driver, said, Las Vegas is full of surprises. But remember, the real magic is in the people you meet. He was right. I thought of Jake again. A few days later, we drove to the Grand Canyon. The road was long and quiet. When we finally arrived, the view took my breath away. The canyon stretched endlessly, painted in shades of red, orange, and gold. The air was cool and still, filled with the sound of the wind whispering through the rocks. Our guide, Maria, told us stories about her ancestors who lived near the canyon. They believe this place is sacred, she said. It connects earth and sky. We hiked down a steep trail. It was hard, but the view made it worth it. At the bottom, a river sparkled under the sunlight. I sat on a rock and called Jake. I wish you were here, I said. So do I, he replied. Promise me you'll show it to me one day. As we climbed back up, the sun began to set. The canyon walls glowed with golden light. I stopped to take a photo, but no picture could capture how beautiful it was. I whispered to myself, the world is so big, and I'm only just beginning to see it. Next, we traveled to Chicago. The moment we arrived, a cold wind greeted us. The city was full of tall buildings, museums, and the huge Lake Michigan, which looked like an ocean. We visited the Willis Tower and took the elevator to the top. Standing in a glass box that extended from the building, I looked straight down. It was thrilling and terrifying at the same time. Sarah laughed. Come on, Emma. Take a selfie. We took dozens of funny photos, laughing until our cheeks hurt. At lunchtime, we tried deep dish pizza. It was thick, cheesy, and delicious, like a pizza and a pie had become one. In the evening, we visited Cloud Gate, the giant silver sculpture shaped like a bean. It reflected the whole city in its shiny surface. We took more photos, making silly faces. That night, I called Jake again. He said, "You sound so happy, Emma. I love hearing your adventures." "I wish you were here to see it all," I said. "One day, we'll travel together," he promised. Our next stop was Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States. The city was clean, peaceful, and full of history. We visited the White House, the Lincoln Memorial, and the Washington Monument. The Lincoln Memorial was my favorite. The statue of President Lincoln looked calm and wise. I stood there for a long time, thinking about his words carved into the wall, "With malice toward none, with charity for all." At night, the monuments were lit up, glowing softly under the stars. It felt like stepping into a history book. At a museum, I saw real dinosaur bones and space shuttles. I imagined myself as an astronaut, exploring the universe. Later, I sat on the steps of the memorial and called Jake. "You sound different," he said. "More confident. More, you." I smiled. Maybe this trip is helping me grow. Our final stop was San Francisco. The air was cool, and the famous Golden Gate Bridge stretched across the blue bay like a red ribbon. We rode cable cars up and down the steep hills, laughing as the wind blew through our hair. We visited Fisherman's Wharf, where sea lions lay lazily in the sun. We also toured Alcatraz Island, the old prison surrounded by cold water. It felt strange and mysterious. On our last evening, I climbed Twin Peaks, a hill overlooking the whole city. As the sun set, the city lights began to sparkle below me like jewels. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was Jake. "Emma, I'm flying to San Francisco tomorrow," he said. My heart leapt. "You're serious?" "Of course. I promised I'd see you again." The next morning, he arrived with flowers, pink lilies this time. We spent the day walking across the Golden Gate Bridge, eating chocolate at Ghirardelli Square, and watching sailboats on the bay. When it was time to say goodbye, we stood at the airport gate. "This isn't the end," Jake said softly. "It's just the beginning." He kissed me goodbye, and I felt both happy and sad. As our bus drove home toward California, I looked out the window. The trip had started as a school project, but it became so much more. I had seen the mountains, deserts, oceans, and cities of America. I had met people who changed how I saw the world. And somewhere between the lights of New York and the sunsets of Miami, I had found love. I took a deep breath and smiled. "This," I whispered, "is only the beginning of my adventure."